All right, hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another fun-filled, crazy, nonsense-centric episode of OmniBros Live. This week we have my boy, could be my son. There's been rumors and speculations and memes of him being my spawn. But let's say what's up to Luis. What's up, brother?
Hey man, how you been? How you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
Is what it is. But how you doing?
Well, I'm pretty good. I mean, I've had a slight headache all day, but aside from that, I'm pretty good. You know, we've got reviews, we've got some good comics to talk about, and we've got the audience, so that's enough for a good day.
That's right, everybody. Today's gonna be a great day. We got a great chat already. If this is your first time in, or you don't really chat much in chat, I think today will be a good episode to kind of introduce yourself to the chat and mix into that mosh pit of nonsense and Howard Stern talk and everything else that goes on in that chat. That's kind of a tangent to the rest of the show. It's almost like you're getting two shows. You get us and you get the chat. The chat's like their own stars. But yeah, so like you said, poor Gio. Gio dropped out again. Gio's having some issues. Yeah. Is he getting hit by the hurricane out there, or did I pass him up already?
I'm not entirely sure. He said it was raining pretty badly out there. And you know, Gio, if it's even like a little cloud over there in Puerto Rico, their internet bottoms out real quick.
Well, their internet's made out of paper towels, so once it gets wet, it falls apart.
They've got a lot of them now, so
what happened with you in that hurricane? Did it just miss you guys, or what?
Oh man, we were grabbing death by the balls for a second there. Like it came and it just barely just scratched the side of us. The East Coast of Florida got it the worst, but I live in Central Florida, so all we got was like a regular thunderstorm.
Cool.
Yeah, so we were very fortunate, very very fortunate, because you know the Bahamas didn't luck out so much. Unfortunately, you know we might have some fans out there. We wish you the best right now in this time. But it was very fortunate for us over here in Florida.
Speaking of being very, very fortunate, we here are extremely fortunate to have a wonderful sponsor that sponsors this wackadoo show. That is In Stock Trades. That's right, InStockTrades.com. They are the choice online vendor. Yes, that's right. We have a choice, and they are our choice for our online purchasing of Omnibus Collected Editions, trade paperbacks, and all your needs with that as well. They offer free shipping in the United States if you have an order of $50 or more, which is not very hard to do on that site. It's easy to spend more than you expected because of all the great deals. You also get great, wonderful packaging that is like none other and is the standard of all shipping. And you get wonderful customer service. Every so often, we get our very own Omnibroslive code. Yeah, that's right. We have our own code every couple of months. And it's something that, if I remember correctly, I think it was our idea for the code that made them change, that gave them the idea to change almost their entire website skeleton system to allow discounts. So you guys are welcome.
It's true. It's true. It was because of us they started doing the code thing, and that was fun. That was really cool. Yeah,
even if that's not true, I will take full credit for it.
Even before they were sponsors of ours, we loved In Stock Trades. We would go like every show without it wouldn't be a show that we wouldn't mention In Stock Trades, even before they were our lovely sponsors.
Oh yeah, we've loved them before they were our sponsor, and we're always going to love them. I've used them, well, not them, but their parent company DCBS for like 15 years. It feels like right about now. I've been doing them. I've always ordered my online or my comics online for the most part. Once that became more of a tangible thing, but then the trade paperback started happening, and I use them as well for that. So,
okay, did you read before we kind of dive into like the books and stuff like that? I'm trying to give Ryley a little extra time to jump in with us on time. Did you read House of X number 4? The one that came out last
week? I did read House of X number 4. Yes, sir.
That was good.
For everybody at home, this is what just do 2 by 2. There's 2 of us. This is what Luis is talking about. Issue 4, Powers of X.
Powers. That's what it was. Yeah.
Is it Powers? No, I'm sorry. This is House of X. This is House of X. Yeah.
Ah, that was such a good issue, man.
I told you guys that this this thing coming out weekly is a godsend. I'm so happy that I don't have to wait month after month, or even twice a month to get this book every Wednesday. If I wasn't working in a comic book store, I'd be hitting the stores every Wednesday for sure and throw this book on top of my stack. This is great. I want to see what's going to happen with the new Dawn of X because of all the things that happen in this book. I want to know how, some of these things that are being planned for X-Men #1 that we've already seen, how it's actually going to happen because so much happened in this issue. It's a game changer right now.
It's a game changer. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
To me, I just didn't expect some of the massive changes that were thrown into there, and who knows how they're gonna stick, or if it's not, I doubt they'll be permanent. But knowing Hickman, this might be going forward. The things that happen in this book might stick around for a while. God damn! I finished reading it, and I was just like, wow! Talk about blowing my expectations away, honestly. We're beating around the bush right now simply because we don't want to spoil it for anybody that is waiting on collected editions or not. But this was big. Like this was really big.
Yeah, a lot. I know there's already people asking in the chat about the hardcover. The hardcover comes out. I believe it's Christmas. The week of Christmas, I believe that hardcover is coming out. So be on the lookout for that one for sure. But yeah, so if you're waiting for the hardcover, I envy you. There was no way I could have that kind of self-control and be able to avoid spoilers and everything like that. It's too much is happening with this book.
Yeah, it's so weird. And the thing is, it's got me excited once again for the weekly grind. And I haven't said that in years. Kind of like what you mentioned, between everything that Marvel is doing, where they've got the Carnage crossovers, which the crossovers aren't bad. Mm-hmm. I've read all the recent crossovers that have come out, and they actually tie in pretty well. They're not bad at all. But between Carnage, between what Hickman's doing on X-Men, and all these other great titles, like I am happy on the weekly grind again. And that's something I haven't said in a while.
Yeah, no, seriously. Somebody's asking if it's on Hoopla. I would just go to Comixology and just drop the money and buy these books. It's worth it. You're not going to be disappointed at all.
I don't know what's going on with Ryley. He mentioned something on the chat.
I know. He's going to try it on this tablet. Yeah, everybody's having computer issues. I started my computer up and needed to do a 35-minute update, so I'm doing this on my laptop. Yeah, Justin Page in the chat. Yeah, bro. House and Powers have me buying single issues again after years. I think that's been the consensus of a lot of people. I've had people call and talk to me about X-Men. Nobody calls and talks to me about X-Men, but now people are actually... I've never had so many conversations about X-Men in years. It's probably been about 10 years since about Grant Morrison's run, where I've had anybody ask me or even start a conversation about X-Men, have a long connected X-Men conversation. There's Tardy. What up, Ryley? Give us a second, guys. We got another guy in the house today. What up, brother?
What's happening?
Hey, finally.
So I'm gonna try and still work my computer, but it's just being too slow. I was like, I gotta get on. It's taking too long.
Hey, we were talking about House of X4. What'd you think of that? Did you read that yet, Ryley?
No, I haven't read anything from last week.
Oh, dude, just jump off the show now and read it. Just read it now. Read it on the show, so we have like live reactions from Ryley.
I'll have to. God, now I'm gonna have to ask my computer to work even better and download books.
All right, so.
Dude, no, you will especially like the newest House of X issue.
All right.
All right.
Let's add one more Hispanic to the chat today. We got too many Hispanics on it. This is like a gang. Like when you're in jail, you can't have this many Hispanic flying up at once.
Is this like the geeky version of the MS-13 or whatever?
Yeah, blood in, blood out, man. OmniBros locals for life.
You guys should do comic theater.
How's everybody doing?
I don't feel good. Do you guys mind if we just start jumping into reviews? Because I really don't feel that well today.
Yeah, man, go for it. I
Who
don't.
wants to go first? And what book?
Let's do
Well, let's
Murder
talk
Falcon.
Murder,
Huh?
yeah.
You guys want to do Murder Falcon?
Motherfucking Murder Falcon, everybody. That's what we're gonna be doing some reviews this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Murder Falcon by Daniel Warren Johnson.
Who wants to go first?
Is Gio, you're okay? Because you're the man that was like really seemed to like this, and you have a lot of metal, like metal music, like hard metal music experience. Than the rest of
Sure.
us,
I mean, I'll go first. I thought this was easily one of the best reading experiences I've had in this year, simply because this book is pretty freaking badass. You have the story of these characters that are what did they call it again? The
Vander.
I forgot the name. The thing that opens up that sends all the kaiju monsters to the world, and the rip
Magnum
in
Chaos?
Space and time, I guess. Yeah, with the bad guy called Magnum Chaos, and Jake, he this humanoid-looking badass Murder Falcon finds him and tells him like he is of like this prophecy that he's going to beat the kaiju monsters in Magnum Chaos with the power of the heavy metal. And right then and there, I'm like, okay, I'm sold. The book is fantastic.
Yeah, this was.
There's a ton of heavy metal. It does have a lot of heart. It's very wholesome. What the story.
You're
Might
okay.
be able to get on the computer. No, I recommended it because I thought that you guys would love all of that stuff about it.
So yeah, real quick, with Murder Falcon, I agree with everything that Gio. I think Gio's having internet issues again, which is unfortunate. Sorry about that, but yeah, with Murder Falcon, it's what Gio was trying to say is you have this normal everyday guy up here on the front cover who, through the power of metal music, can summon the savior of the world, which is this giant bird with a metal arm. And everything within this book, especially if you're a metalhead, like if you're really, really into like any kind of metal music or just music in general, if you're the kind of person that feels that music moves you and music is healing for you, this is the book for you because it's all about that. And we get to learn a lot about Jake himself as a person, as a character, his struggles that he goes through is really moving and touching. And it was way more than what I did not expect to happen in this book. I was thinking this is going to be just another fun kind of kaiju fighting monster type book. And it ends up turning into this heartfelt book about sharing your emotions and having good relationships with your friends and your family and your loved ones and not turning your bad day against everybody. It's really kind of a great, just moving story. It's very much like I created a lot with Grant Morrison's Joel the Barbarian, where there's a lot more going on than what you kind of see in the art and the cover and the comic itself, because you do get a character struggling with diseases and with depression and self-help and things like that. But also at the same time, not to make this a down note, you also just get this group of this band who broke up, and now they're getting back together because their musical ability allows them to also summon more and more giant monsters and creatures to fight other giant monsters and creatures. So it's very heavy metal music mixed with Voltron, mixed with Power Rangers, and mixed kind of with the Pacific Rim, where you have like this terror that's allowing monsters into our world, and you are the savior by playing metal music. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna echo a lot of what you guys said. For me, though, this is, as of right now, my personal book of the year. My personal collector edition of the year. I love this book. It hit all the right notes for me, emotionally, art-wise. I mean, as somebody that grew up on metal, grew up on Iron Maiden, Pantera. If you've lived in the South, you know Pantera is huge here, as I'm sure Ryley can attest. You know, just all those classic bands, Black Sabbath. It's very apparent that Daniel Warren Johnson has a love for the genre, for music, and especially metal. What I did not expect was one of the most loving tributes to metal that I think I have ever read. The last few panels in here, if you are familiar with metal and if you're familiar with a certain band, I am 100% sure it'll just send like chills down. Like I got goosebumps just because how much of a lovely tribute it was to one of my favorite musicians of all time. And the thing is that it's we can't really give away the main crux and what's going on in the story, because at first I'm reading this thinking, oh wow, this is really badass. You know, it's gonna be like you said, Gabe. It's a kaiju story where you've got it's just about a guy who's fighting a whole bunch of monsters using an anthropomorphic falcon with a giant robotic arm, which is badass enough in itself. But about 4 issues in, 3-4 issues in, they kind of pull the rug from under you, and you go, "Oh, there is a lot more going on here than what I originally thought." And it's ultimately a story about accepting the terrible hand that sometimes you're dealt with, and how the power of music and metal it enables certain people to overcome that and to kind of find the good in the time that they have.
Yeah, there's a lot of unexpected twists and turns in this book, for something that when you kind of give the premise to somebody, when you tell them this is a book about a guy who plays the guitar and it magically summons a beast to fight other beasts, it sounds pretty one-dimensional. And I can see, you know, I think that might have been the idea behind it, which for it to sound one-dimensional, but then there's a lot of depth involved, like Luis was saying, with the struggles that Jake is dealing with. I love this book so much. I intended, usually when I read books, I'll read like 2 or 3 issues, take a nap, or I put it down and pick it back up later. But this book, I read from cover to cover in one sitting. I couldn't put it down.
It's a very fast read.
It is.
Yeah,
it's a fast read.
It's a fast read. It's not broken up. They don't break up the issues with covers. So I probably read like 3 issues before I realized, oh, they're not putting in the covers. Like I didn't really notice. It seemed like it was written to be like one long story, but of course that had to be chopped up to be episodic in the form of comic books. But I read it from beginning to end as just one straight story. There's really no story break. There's really no like, 2 months later, 3 months later. It just all feels like everything is happening in one big long day.
Yeah, plus the band name Bruticus is easily one of my favorite things about this comic. That was so badass. But really, I really like the idea, the concept that you have to be brave in the face of adversity. Even if you fail at it, you still give it your all. And I thought that was a very positive message to send out to readers, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think if you're somebody that suffers with any kind of like of the blues, or life has been beating you up a little too hard, or you're kind of just getting exhausted with everyday bullshit. I don't know what just happened here. This is a perfect book to kind of bring your spirits back up, and you can kind of learn a little bit of life lesson from this book.
Yeah, I agree. No, I totally agree. It's my book of the year. I don't see. We're coming up close to the end of the year, but as far as like a complete and total collected edition package, this is going on my best of list, and it's probably going to be my pick for the best of
Yeah,
the year.
it's definitely going on my list too, which is unexpected. This is just again, my idea of this book came from it's a guy who fights monsters using metal music, which sounds cool, but you really get a lot more out of it than that. And the art in it by Daniel Warren Johnson, this guy's art is great. Like it's every page is just dynamic. There's like speed lines and there's fighting. And just even when people are when there's those sit down kind of conversational moments, especially with some of the stuff that he has to deal with, and they have kind of the different colored panels to kind of determine from the past to the present kind of time, or A story versus B story. It's still full of energy and it's full of just emotion and power. And he just brought the perfect. It's very Paul Pulp. He just a lot of heavy blacks, a lot of jagged, crazy lines, and it just brings so much power. It feels like metal. This is what metal music kind of looks like, with a lot of character designs and the story elements. I mean, the drummer has a drum set. His drum kick is on rockets, so it's like these rocket powered drum kits.
That kind of reminded me of I don't know if you remember this, but remember Motley Crue, how Tommy Lee would have his drum kit and it would flip upside down when he's playing it?
Oh yeah, all that crazy nonsense.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that. Yeah, best of material. It caught me off guard. That was probably the biggest thing for me, that it totally caught me off guard on what I expected this to be.
So I was very insistent that we read this one because I enjoyed it so much, and I knew that none of y'all were expecting much from it. Because it even before it had finished, it was kind of like we were joking about it on the show. Even and I was like, "Have you read Murder Falcon?" And Luis, I know like we would laugh about because it's the title and the concept is ridiculous. And so there was a couple episodes that, we talked about stuff. And I think it was on an episode we might have been talking about like currently ongoing books and stuff and image books. And I was like, Murder Falcon. And y'all were like, what? And I was like, no, it's great. Trust me. But at that point, like halfway through, you haven't gotten to like what winds up being the real meat behind it. And so like Gabe said exactly what I think. Like it winds up giving me by the end the same feeling as like Morrison's Joe the Barbarian did, except this does it for metal music as Joe the Barbarian did it for like toys and like the stuff that you played with growing up. So it's like that did it with the physical things that I played with, and then this did it with the things that I listened to growing up. And I'm not as big of a metalhead as some other people are, but I listened to a lot, and I listened growing up to a lot of metal, and I especially listened to a ton of System of a Down, which is why it always makes me excited when Gabe's just nonchalantly talking about his boss. But it was definitely a surprise for me how good it wound up being, and I shouldn't have been too surprised because Johnson's previous book, I believe Extremity, was also really freaking good. So I recommend that if you haven't read it yet. But this one I think tops it because it's just one of those books that's so fun. Like you don't want to put it down. You want to keep reading it. And sometimes this is just what I look for in comics, like those books that you can just kick back and have fun and just turn off your mind and just enjoy it. Just take it in and enjoy it. And in the end, it winds up speaking to you in a way that a lot of other books don't.
Well said. Very well said.
Yeah, I'm glad that you guys enjoyed it as much as I did.
Yeah. No, it reminded me the most of I Kill Giants, for me at least.
I can see that.
Yeah, with especially how emotional the ending can get.
Yeah, it's definitely in that vein.
Yeah, and when you figure out what's actually going on and everything, there was a point where I'm reading this, and even I was thinking, I was like, okay, we know what's going on. Like, is this the thing where like all of this is a hallucination, or is it actually really happening? But like, yeah, I don't think we could praise it any more than we have.
Yeah, a lot of good twists and turns in that book. I thought it was his wife that was having problems, but So what's next? You got a couple more books to talk about this week.
You guys want to do
Green Lantern?
That's right.
All
The
right.
Lantern.
Now this was, I think, last year when we did the Omnis and I wrote y'all that page of chicken scratch. This was my pick for the best new ongoing series or whatever. Like, I think I put this one on like 3 different selections because when this series debuted, I was so in love with it that months back I told you guys I need all of y'all to read this. You all need to check it out. You all need to read it, and I hope that y'all like it as much as I do, because this is what I want and expect from DC Comics in general. This type of material. I don't want to rant about that too much, but basically, like, there's something that I expect from DC and there's something that I expect from Marvel, and every once in a while they go into each other's territory, and that's fine. But lately I feel like DC's been leaning and teetering too far into being what I expect from Marvel and not doing these big concept books, and they really haven't had a good sci-fi title. They really haven't had a good high concept title in a while. And that's the kind of stuff I expect from them, because you have a lot of these cosmic characters, and it's supposed to be this huge world with the most powerful characters who have, like, they're literally gods on Earth. And we've just been getting, in my opinion, like, it feels like we're getting these small stories about these characters, and they're really underselling who these characters are. And that's okay, like I said, once in a while, but for your entire publishing line to be like that, that's when I kind of get detracted, and I'm like, okay, like, get back to, more of the bigger, like, even when Jeff Johns was on Green Lantern, it had a lot of high concept ideas. And it was really pushing the boundaries of what was happening with that franchise and what was happening in the DCU as a whole. And now we're kind of still doing that, and it's like these echoes of what Morrison was doing back with Multiversity, with the Source Wall, and then Snyder is kind of taking on those things. But everything that Snyder does, and I overall I wind up enjoying it, but it just focuses so much on his whole idea with the dark multiverse, and that just spins out of more stuff with Batman, and ultimately everything he does just comes back to Batman. And that's fine, but he's been like, he's writing Justice League now, and when you're writing something as high, like the big team like Justice League, I feel like it needs to expand past that. And it feels like dark multiverse just seems like such a Marvel thing to do. And it's fun, but it's very different from, I don't know, it's a really weird thing to try and explain, but it's just different from what I expect. But Morrison, when he came on Green Lantern, and I have a ton of Morrison bias, number one, and number two, I have been hoping that he would jump on Green Lantern for forever. So when it finally got leaked that that's what he was going to be doing, I was so excited. But I don't think that you can say, like, put my bias into consideration when I talk about how much I love this book, because that bias made me have huge expectations for how good this book should be, and they lived up. Like, this book lived up to every expectation that I had for it. Morrison just does so well he takes the concept of who Hal Jordan is and what the Green Lantern is, and brings it back down to the very core basic concept of he's an intergalactic cop.
Yeah.
And then he drops that pin and just expands from there in these huge ideas and these huge concepts that link a little bit to other things that are happening in the DC universe. Like at the beginning, I think of the first issue, you get this one page that shows connection to one of the big things that's been happening in Rebirth. But after that, it just goes off and does its own thing. And Morrison just goes off on his, in his own way, just being super creative with the different things that Hal gets involved in. And I knew going in that Morrison would be such a great writer for Hal or for Green Lantern, because of all of the just fun and crazy concepts that have been used throughout the years. And Morrison's penchant for, like he did with Batman, going back and saying like, well, everything's canon. So he's going to want to bring back all these different characters, like the blind Green Lantern that uses the F-sharp bell, and Mogo, and like various ridiculous lanterns and stuff like that. Like that's the type of stuff that he would love and he would expand upon. And he does it so well. And that's just on the writing side, because then on the art side, you have Liam Sharp, who's just drawing the hell out of this book. And he does such a fantastic job of making it look like something that is both modern, but easily could have been from the 80s, from like the various Green Lantern stories that like Alan Moore wrote back in the day. And he puts so much detail on each page, and it's just perfect and beautiful.
It's got to be some of his best work I've seen Liam Sharp do in a long time.
It's not just him. It's definitely his team of inkers, or his inker and his colorist definitely have to do with it. So Steve Oliff is the colorist. I think Sharp might ink his own work, but it has to do with that for sure, because it's leagues above other work that Sharp has done. But I absolutely adore this book, and I was really excited to have the rest of you guys check it out because of how much I've enjoyed it. And some of the stuff that's been happening with Green Lantern since John's left has been fun and all, but this is what I've been waiting for, not just for the character, but this is what I've been waiting for from DC in general for a really long time. So this was one of my picks for one of the best books of last year. It's still something that every time an issue comes out, it's at the top of my to read list. I freaking love it. I can't say enough good about that book.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo pretty much everything that you've said. To me, this is a throwback comic in 2019. I have a review coming out of this, coming out for this week on my channel, but it really is. It's a throwback in the best way, and it reminds me of classic Silver Age stuff. And I think that's what Morrison is going for here in a lot of ways, because he's going back to basics while introducing some really cool new concepts. I love the Jeff Johns run on Green Lantern. To me, that's been my favorite run that's my favorite run that I've ever read. And everything that he did with the different colored spectrum of the lanterns and all that other cool stuff, and different rings and the different types of cores, I thought that was really great. But I do think over the past few years that every single writer that has taken on Green Lantern has kind of basically been doing an echo of what Jeff Johns was doing in some way, shape, or form, where okay, we're going to bring in these lanterns, and we're going to bring in these lanterns. And, I dig the fact that Morrison said, okay, we're going to basically scale this down, and we're going to take this back to basics. We're just going to really focus on the Green Lantern Corps as a police unit, because that's what they are. They're an intergalactic police unit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell police stories. I'm going to tell cop-like stories. And every single issue, to me, felt like it was almost a one-shot issue. There's an overarching story in the background that you got to pay attention to that's going on, but you've got several issues where, okay, Hal's on the case, he finishes the case, and then it's done. I think it's issue 4 where they're dealing with like God, where Hal Jordan is basically going to arrest God, and the portrayal that Liam Sharp uses is so hilarious because it's the stereotypical of what you would think God would look like. And I've had the most fun because I am catching up digitally with this now too. Since I finished reading this, I'm having the most fun reading his Green Lantern that I've had since Jeff Johns run. I love what he's doing with the character. Liam Sharp's art is gorgeous. It's beautiful stuff, and he fits the tone that Morrison is going for perfectly here. He really gets to flex his muscles the more you go through the series, because you're getting introduced to all these different races of aliens and all these different planets, and I got to imagine as an artist that's got to be so freeing for him.
Totally. Before this thing explodes, I just wanted to say that the Green Lantern book is up. I didn't understand what the hell I was reading for the first 3 issues, so I had to go back and read it twice.
And his internet bottomed out again. Will we ever figure out if we love Green Lantern? Tune in next week.
Poor Gio, man. That sucks, man.
Poor guy.
But this is is it the only thing Grant Morrison's working on currently, comic book wise?
He's editor-in-chief at Heavy Metal, isn't he?
I know he was at a time. I didn't know that was still an ongoing thing.
Is he still? I don't know.
I don't know. All right. So, what about Thanos? What do you guys think of Thanos by Donny Cates?
I'll let you go first, Gabe. Considering you're the big Thanos guy here.
All right. So, this volume of Thanos, this is the one written by extremely Nova hot, ready to explode into the sky. Donny Cates. Him as a writer is like the hottest thing to come around since probably when Bendis first showed up. And I don't mean that as an insult whatsoever. I'm talking about when Bendis first showed up and he did amazing things coming out of practically nowhere. With this book, though, you have Donny Cates writing it. You have Jeff Shaw, who is the artist that Donny Cates also used for his God Country book. And this is a time travel story. This is I'm going to call it a Thanos having a midlife crisis story as well, because you get King Thanos. You get Thanos after he wins and destroys the entire galaxy. Basically every last breathing creature in the galaxy, Thanos has destroyed. You can see on the cover here that he has a throne built out of Galactus's headpiece. So he has taken down absolutely everybody at this point. But the plot device of the story is that he calls in and brings his younger self from the past, current timeline Thanos, into the future, where Thanos gets to meet, again, another hot commodity in comic books right now, the Cosmic Ghost Rider, who at one time, Cosmic Ghost Rider, he's really the star of this book. He has taken off because of this book here. But you have Cosmic Ghost Rider, who at one time was a herald of Galactus, and he's now basically the herald of Thanos. He gets introduced in this story. You also get a cool new version of Hulk. I can't see in here. I'm trying to find it. But this is what does this contain? Let me read over this again. This contains what? Thanos 13 through 18 and annual number 1, Cosmic Ghost Rider 1 through 5, and Thanos Legacy number 1. So you do get a lot of good material in this book here. But I had a great time with this. This is Donny Cates' big breakout. He took this book over after Jeff Lemire's incredible run on the story. And he really grabbed this book by the horns and made it his own thing. He surpassed what Jeff Lemire was able to do in Thanos and really make an impact on this story for sure. But what'd you think of it, Luis?
All right, look, it's no secret that at this point I'm sucking on Donny Cates' teeth, like really bad right now. So whatever the man puts out, then I'm basically gonna end up reading. The guy's record right now, would you say it's pretty much impeccable? I don't think I've read a book yet that Donny Cates has put out that I didn't think at least was really good. Wouldn't you say? Yes.
Yeah, man. Everything he's put out has been very solid. I don't think I've been less than satisfied with anything of his.
Yeah. I think the last time that we've seen a writer with this much heat when he came out the gate was probably Scott Snyder. That was 2010, 2011. So it's been a while. And even then, by this point, I would say that Snyder had kind of cooled off as far as like his fan base. He's still a great writer. But Donny Cates has been able to just keep that momentum going. And to me, his Thanos series is so good. It's coming off of Jeff Lemire's run, which was no slouch as well, because Jeff Lemire's run was actually really good. And, you know, Thanos dealing with, he might be dying and all this other stuff. And jumping right into this, where Donny Cates, what is this, only like 8 issues for Thanos proper?
6 issues and the annual for the first story, but the annual is really a bridge into the Cosmic Ghost Rider mini.
Right. So, like, consider everything that happens in just those few issues alone. We get a character introduced like Cosmic Ghost Rider, which has just blown up. Like, people love Cosmic Ghost Rider, and on paper, when you think about it, it's like the most 80s character you could think about. But it works, and it's really cool. And I love the introduction of the character, and you find the revelation of who Cosmic Ghost Rider is. When I was first reading this, back when I was reading this digitally, I thought, okay, this is the easy choice is Deadpool. And I was thinking, okay, this is probably Deadpool. And they pretty much just addressed that right up front, and it's like, no, it's not Deadpool. This is somebody else. So on top of that, the story involving Thanos is really good. And the thing is, when you're writing a story about a villain, it can be very difficult because at the end of the day, us as readers, we know Thanos is an asshole. Like, he is not a good person. And it's not so much that you end up feeling sympathy for Thanos, but considering the circumstance that he gets put in, you kind of end up rooting for the guy in this particular instance. I love the introduction of. I know we're not really trying to talk spoilers. There's a cosmic character that shows up, like about towards the end of this book, and he has an amazing fight with Thanos, like an incredible fight with Thanos, and he shows up and he is powered up, like he is just dripping energy out of him.
I don't think spoilers. I don't think that's a spoiler. You can let people know. Tell them.
You don't think? Okay. So Silver Surfer ends up showing up towards the end of this book, and immediately I thought, Gabe, if he's reading this, is probably just like losing his mind right now.
Yeah, I had to wear rubber pants when I read it over again because I knew I was going to lose everything again.
And it's not just that it's Silver Surfer; it's Silver Surfer wielding Madelyn, or however you pronounce it. And it's so badass. It's such a badass fight, man. I thought it was going to go one way. Obviously, it went another way. But me not having too much knowledge on the character of Thanos and jumping into this is easily – you don't need to read the Jeff Lemire stuff, even though I honestly think you guys should, because you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't. Me jumping in and reading the Kate stuff, I loved it. I really loved it. And the thing is, I think, Gabe, you nailed it, is that this is the main thing about this is that this is the jumping off point for Cosmic Ghost Rider. This is where we're first introduced to him. And then not only that, it was really cool because when I was reading this, I was like, oh shit, they have the Cosmic Ghost Rider issues in here. So it's actually a pretty solid little collection, because I was expecting this just to be the Kate stuff and that would be it. But the fact that they threw in the extra Cosmic Ghost Rider issues, I was like, oh wow, this is really good.
Yeah, they had to do that. If they didn't, that would have been a massive mistake, because you pretty much immediately fall in love with the Cosmic Ghost Rider character.
And that story informs a lot about the Thanos story. And not only that, but like what Donny Cates is doing at Marvel right now, the best like comparison period is like what Rick Remender was doing when he was doing like Uncanny X-Force, Secret Avengers, Venom, all of those series, in that he's creating his own connected corner of the Marvel Universe. And you get in this book, you have, you know, this Thanos story, and he introduces the Cosmic Ghost Rider, and he introduces this new version of the Silver Surfer, and then he introduces these new plot lines that build into something else. And literally the last page of this collection is to be continued in Guardians of the Galaxy. And that story in Guardians of the Galaxy is continually just, it's building into bigger things, and everything that he's writing currently, you know, everything in this collection, Silver Surfer Black, Guardians of the Galaxy, Venom, everything that he has his fingers on is connected in some way. That's really freaking cool, because he's doing these things that you wouldn't expect, and they work so well, because it basically seems like Marvel just is like, yeah, go for it. Like, whatever idea you come up with, we love it, go for it. And they're letting him just do whatever he wants in his own little corner, which so far has been pretty, you know, off to the side. Like Venom doing stuff and some of the cosmic characters doing stuff are disconnected from everything else that's going on. But I'm willing to bet that in the next few years, Marvel's going to give Cates the reins to an A-list book, not a book that he makes into an A-list book, but they're going to give him, you know, like
Avengers.
Thor or
He's
Avengers.
going to be, he's taking over Thor pretty soon.
You think so?
100%.
It's gotta happen.
Yeah, it's gotta happen. Considering, what's going on in another series he's got going on right now.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
he's the right choice.
Yeah, I mean, like Ryley was saying, this is all connected. This is his own little Donny Cates verse, and it kind of really spun out of Jason Aaron's Thor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's also reminiscent to stuff that Remender would do. He would spin out of little concepts and stuff that other creators had used. You know, he did a lot of stuff coming off of Morrison's X-Men and some of the stuff that Aaron was doing with his Wolverine run, and just pushed it and took it into these other places. And that's really what Cates is doing. And it's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's old school comics where one writer will pick up a loose hanging thread of a different storyline and turn it into something. And that's what we're getting with Donny Cates, with Venom, Guardians of the Galaxy. Like Ryley said, this leads right into that Guardians of the Galaxy series, which also spins out, splinters out into Silver Surfer Black.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to read everything, and that's not like a bad thing, because you want to read everything he's doing. Yeah, he leads you down the path where you're like, what happened to Silver Surfer in Guardians of the Galaxy 1? Go read Silver Surfer Black and continue that story on its own. And the whole thing with Null, the symbiote god, he's everywhere in all of these books. Yeah, not so much Thanos or Cosmic Ghost Rider or anything that we're talking about now, but I don't see why it's not going to happen sooner or later, because he is deeply, deeply enrooted in this cosmic universe that Donny Cates has 1 foot in and 1 foot out doing carnage. So it's really kind of cool how he has this all set up in his head.
Yeah, it's really interesting seeing just how Marvel has basically just said, okay, here's your own little pocket. Like, you just write all these books, and because when we originally started reading like Silver Surfer Black and Venom and his Guardians of the Galaxy now, which if you haven't picked up his Guardians of the Galaxy, it's really good too. Mm-hmm. I didn't imagine that they would be so interconnected together. Like, you are seeing, it's small stuff, but you are seeing all the pieces that he's putting on the board for something that I don't think we even know how much bigger it is going to be down the line. I think it's going to get a lot bigger after Carnage.
I think you're right, and I think that it's potentially going to be like Hickman-sized concepts and stuff, but the way that he writes is very much in the same vein as the way that Remender wrote, where he was just taking that kind of combining the extremeness of the 90s and making it into this amalgamation of like the quality, or not quality, but like the style of writing of current comics, and just making something new and beautiful out of it. And that, I think, is what he's doing here. And just the kind of the dark tones that he has, but also kind of mixing in his own sense of humor with his books. It was a very, very much reminiscent of what Remender was doing, to the point that now I'm no longer as sad that I don't have Rick Remender writing at Marvel, because I have Donny Cates writing at Marvel, and he's doing everything that I would have expected from Remender. And now I also have Hickman here doing his side of things. So this is, when I was talking earlier about like the type of stuff that I expect from Marvel, Donny Cates type and like Rick Remender's type of stuff, that's what I expect from Marvel. Like these kinds of just crazy idea stories. It's what I really crave, and I'm just ecstatic that we're getting it.
Yeah. He definitely reminds me in some ways of, like you said, Rick Remender. When Rick Remender was really hot, like back when he was doing Uncanny X-Force and a bunch of other titles at the time. I know the Rick Remender stuff is kind of cooled off for mainstream audiences, especially since he's gone to Image. But he's still putting out fantastic books. Like Black Science and all that stuff is really good. But yeah, I'm expecting big things over the next few years from Donny Cates, and the guy's only getting started. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah, this is the best Marvel Cosmic has been since like the DNA era.
Yeah, and it wouldn't surprise me if this ends up being like a few years down the road when we look back at all this and be like, yeah, this is the new like Marvel Cosmic status quo, kind of like what DNA ended up doing.
Like I think looking at it where people are trying to like collect everything, like when you look at starting with like Annihilation through the Realm of Kings, all of that, and people are asking for reading orders and how to collect this, and like the same with like Hickman stuff, going back to when he first jumped on with Marvel at Secret Warriors, going through all of his, Shield, Ultimates, Fantastic Four, Avengers, and Secret Secret Wars. Like I think that we're going to see the same type of thing where years down the line, people will be looking for, what's the reading order for Donny Cates Marvel? What's the reading order for everything? And it's going to start back with this book. And we're going to be telling people like, get that hardcover. You got to read Cosmic Ghost Rider, and then jump into this, and then jump into that. And then you can read this at the same time, but eventually it's both going to come together, and then it's going to lead towards this big thing. And then it's going to be great. Like this is going to be, I don't know if y'all remember, like, God, one of our episodes a long time ago when I was sitting there and explaining like the reading order to,
oh jeez, I remember
like
that.
Jason Aaron's Wolverine stuff and Remender's X-Men stuff, and talking about like where you read this and this goes over here and this goes here. It's going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited for it. And this is completely out of left field, but the same thing that he's doing here, and what I think Marvel is going to be starting to give him, like trusting him to do, they're finally trusting Al Ewing with that kind of stuff too. And these two guys, like Ewing and Cates, are going to be the new, like, if y'all remember back in like 2009 or 2010 when they had the architects, these are the architects of the Marvel universe right now.
No, yeah, they are the big three right now at Marvel are Hickman, Cates, and Ewing. Like those are
for sure.
Those are their top tier writers right now, where if any one of them could walk into Marvel offices and go, hey, I want to write this, and it's just approved instantly. Like it's a no-brainer, really.
They'd be dumb to say otherwise at this point, coming from the standpoint of a consumer of theirs.
Yeah, exactly. And
I mean, those are also the books that have been month after month and week after week. The orders have been going up in my case, and in my experience, and in my sphere of influence. And you don't see it a lot with comics, but it's happening with, Carnage, Absolute Carnage, Immortal Hulk, X-Men, Silver Surfer. All this stuff is just getting so much attention. Yeah. And you don't get that much anymore. And like what Ryley was saying, like we'll be able to map out these storylines, but we're starting at ground zero and we're experiencing it as it's going on. And that's what's fun about comics. One of the things that we enjoy doing is mapping out readathons and mapping out storylines and where to go here to next. That's a major part about comics that you don't get with a lot of other hobbies. And this is a
Yeah.
prime example of us being able to do that later on. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to one day starting this all over again and reading it from the beginning and just following along the steps. So.
It's exactly how it felt back when I was reading Secret Warriors, and then Shield came out, and then he started doing Fantastic Four, and I started seeing all these little things, and I was like, wait a minute, like he's got a bigger thing going on here, and it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
It was the same with Remender when I was reading Uncanny X-Force, and I was like, hey, that's what was just happening over here. And then when he started writing Venom, and he started writing Secret Avengers, and I'm like, you see these characters pop over here, here, and here, and it was. Remender didn't wind up having the big salvo and like conclusion climax of what Hickman did by getting into like an event like Secret Wars, but the same kind of idea. But I feel like Cates, unless he goes rogue and decides to leave Marvel and just stop writing for them like Remender did, he's leading into something that's going to be really big.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think I don't know, the guy's on a hot streak right now. So, and he's just started. It's going to be really impressive to see how his body of work continues over the
It's
next.
like
few years.
Zoolander. That Hansel is so hot right now. That Donny Cates is so hot right now.
I mean, really, wouldn't you say he's probably aside from maybe Hickman, he's probably the biggest name working in comics right now, like among our circle.
It's like I said, it's him, it's Al Ewing, and it's Hickman.
The big three. Those are the big three right now in comics.
Yeah, like even as much as I love Morrison's Green Lantern, people don't talk about that like they do these books.
Yeah.
Well, I've got to see Donny Cates kind of rise up in the industry over the last like year or two.
Yeah.
We had him do a signing at the store the week that Thanos 13 came out. His first Thanos book came out, and we kind of had him as a tag along almost with Mark Brooks. So we had Mark Brooks as like the A guest, and Donny Cates was the B guest because we wanted to get something cool in there. We all loved not Redneck Zombies. What's the name of that book he was doing? Baby Teeth.
I think it's just called Redneck.
Redneck. Okay, yeah. So we had him in for that, and everybody's attention was on Mark Brooks for the most part. Or at least the largest spotlight was on Mark Brooks. And then we had Donny Cates come back about a month or so ago, and he's the biggest name in comics now. I mean, it was a little bit more than a month ago. It was probably about 4 or 5 months ago. It's when Guardians 1 came out, and he is riding it high. That guy, when he first was kind of reserved, and he was kind of a nobody and a smaller name in the industry, and now he's such a big name. He is just the happiest guy. He's riding this hard. He's enjoying every moment of it. So I'm happy for him, and we're all benefiting from it with these great books coming out.
What I'm really upset about is that he lived in, or I think he still lives in Austin, and I moved, and I never got to because he would circulate around those shops, and he would go to those shops back before he was like when he wrote God Country, which was before Thanos. And I loved that book. And I remember I was at a friend of mine's apartment, and they had friends over who worked at a shop in Austin. And some reason Donny Cates came up, and I was like, they said like, oh yeah, he's coming to our shop. He's going to be there whatever day. And I'm like, oh my God, I gotta go. But it was like, I was out of town or something. And they offered to get something signed for me, but I never got anything done. But I was like, shit, there was so many times when he was at Austin Books and Comics at Dragon's Lair, and it's like a 30-minute drive for me, and I could have gone, and I never got the chance. And now he's, like you said, he's this huge name. It's old Texas boy.
Yeah, he's from Garland, Garland, Texas.
Yeah, Garland
is what King of the Hill is based on.
Is it really?
It's real close. It's in DFW. I'm I think it's 30 minutes away from where I am.
Yeah, I just remember saying that Arlen, Texas is just based on Garland, Texas, and King of the Hill. So cool.
Yeah, let me see exactly where. Northeast of Dallas. It's my sister-in-law lives in Richardson, which is right next to Garland. So yeah, he's by someplace like 30, 40 minutes from where I live right now.
So real quick, Gio popped in the chat real quick. Just apologize that he's having internet issues. He couldn't give us his reviews. So make sure you guys subscribe to his channel, A Week in Geekdom, where he'll be uploading his own video reviews of these books. So appreciate that, Gio.
Thank you, Gio.
So you guys think you can stick around for about another 10 minutes and we'll do previews real fast?
I gotta run because my wife and I are doing a lot of last minute moving things.
Okay.
And unfortunately she's taken on the brunt of the work today, because she works from home and I am at the office all day. So she, like, after I got off, she was telling me like I had to do this and I had to do this and I had to do this. So I gotta help, but it's just a few days out. I posted the photo on the Facebook group if you're in there of the new house. We had our last walkthrough with the builder today. Everything looks perfect. I have a larger room for my books.
Yes.
And not only is it larger, but I specifically designed it to have no windows so that A, no light hits my books, and B, I have more room for shelves. So I'm really excited.
Cool, man. Well, congratulations on that, bud.
Appreciate it. I'm really excited. The next time I'm on the show, which will not be for a minute because next week I'm going to be in Disney, but the next time on the show, it'll be from my library.
Oh boy.
What Disney are you going to?
Disney World. So we're hitting all the Magic Kingdom, Epcot. We're going to be at Galaxy's Edge. We're going to do, I don't know, we're doing Animal Kingdom as well. And then we're taking a day to do the Universal Studios park because my wife really wants to go to the Harry Potter Wizarding World.
Dude, you guys got to do Horror Nights while you're out there. It started already.
That's what a couple people have told me, and I think we looked into it. We are doing the Disney Magic Kingdom Halloween party, though.
That's fine.
I know we're doing. That's the first thing we're doing when we get there.
Yeah, Horror Nights is good, but you expect to wait in lines. That's the thing about Horror Nights.
All right, well, I'm gonna peace out, guys. Thanks so much for having me tonight and reviewing some awesome books with me.
Yeah, man. Thanks for the suggestions on these books.
Yeah, of course.
Man.
All right, later.
Late.
Maybe I'll stick around with you, man.
We'll just get this real quick. I'm gonna do this by myself. I'm all alone out here and with the wolves. All right, so let's see here.
Anything good this week, man?
A little bit. Let me try and figure out how to get my screen sharing going on here. Now that I'm on the main. There we go. Screen share.
Daddy Warbucks over here.
Is that up?
Yeah. It always throws me off, but yeah, it's up.
All right. Let me see if I can get this little.
There it is.
I'm gonna blow this up a little bit more so you can see the images a bit more. This is always cool. All right, everybody. So this is the previews. This is new releases coming out this week. This segment and the entire show in general is brought to you by InStockTrades.com, where you'll be able to find these books tomorrow afternoon, 12 noon if you're on the West Coast, 3 o'clock p.m. if you're on the West Coast, and chop it up wherever you are in your own time zone. So let's take a look. Image Comics. Let's start out with these guys as always. So here we have I Hate Fairyland, Deluxe Hardcover Volume 2.
Good stuff. That's the ending of it.
Is it?
Well, probably. I know he wrapped up the story.
Because this seemed like a long time coming. I swore for some reason I thought there was already a second hardcover out for this.
Is it? 11 through 20. I'm pretty sure this ends it.
I Hate Fairyland with 11 through 20. I Hate Image. Oh, that I Hate Image free comic book day special is awesome.
Is it?
It's just literally like her killing everybody in the Image universe. Like, I think like it's like Spawn's in it and like Youngblood's in it and stuff like that. So, and then you get a Oblivion Song, Volume 3, and the Unnatural trade paperback, Volume 3.
Geo's comic of the year.
Oh yeah, I'll just anthropomorphic cam girl model stuff going on here.
Yeah.
A lot of naked animals and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Dark Horse, we get a Mask Omnibus Volume 2, Mystery Science Theater 3000 trade paperback, and the long-awaited, finally coming out that everybody's been asking about. Now everybody is a Umbrella Academy fan. You can now pick up the first volume of the library edition.
Man, long out of print, and a much demanded book by a lot of fans.
Well, once that Netflix series hit, it was almost like watching fans get into Walking Dead for the first time. There was so much demand for Umbrella Academy stuff.
Wow.
IDW, we have Little Jackie Lantern hardcover, Night Moves trade paperback. That's based in Vegas. We have October Fraction, Punk's Not Dead Volume 2. DC Comics, we got some good stuff going on here with the Batman Eternal Omnibus. That's actually our first 50% off item for in-stock trades tomorrow. So you can pick that up for $75. No, wait, I'm wrong. 62, sorry. A new Batman Hush trade paperback, now that movie came out. A new Killing Joke hardcover. That's another one of those Alan Moore things that they're probably will never let go out of print.
Jesus, another one?
Yeah, another one.
God.
Batman Volume 10. This is Nightmares from the current Tom King run. And a new printing of Transmetropolitan Book 2. Is this the new Scum stuff?
Which, we've talked about Transmet a number of times. For whatever reason you haven't read Transmet, you need to pick this up. Too sweet.
Oh man, it also has the I Hate It Here one shot. Good
so
stuff. Good. This is one of the best comics that you've never read.
Yeah. And it flies by quick. I remember going through and reading trades a day. I think I wrapped up the entirety of Transmet in the span of like 3 days.
Yeah, I think I did the three Omnis, not the Omnis, the Absolutes in like a week and a half or something like that. I was really trying hard to burn through that book. It's such a good book. Completely underrated. That needs to be up there on everybody's top 10, top 5 list for sure.
Agreed.
Marvel Comics still pumping out the Age of X-Men related trade paperbacks. This week we have Age of X-Men Apocalypse and X-Tactics. Domino trade paperback, Marvel Monograph trade paperback, art of Isaac Ribic, Marvel Visionaries trade paperback, Jack Kirby, Miles Morales graphic novel with great power. That is our next 50% item from in-stock trades. And Marvel Masterworks Incredible Hulk Volume 3.
Ooh, 13.
I'm sorry, 13. These are both covers of these are also 50% off on in-stock trades. Shuri Volume 2, and then you get Spider-Man Mini Host of Carnage.
Cool.
I wonder what this includes. This might be
Tom DeFalco.
Spider-Man, Carnage USA, Superior Carnage. So one of the things about Absolute Carnage going on right now is they are going after every person or being who was ever connected or bonded with a symbiote, because apparently that symbiote leaves a piece of it in you. It's called a codex, and them gathering all those codex is kind of the storyline of Absolute Carnage, for them to gather up all these codexes to kind of bring back the god of the symbiote. So this might be a super early primer to read if you're interested in any of that Absolute Carnage stuff. Unstoppable Wasp. And then we also have a Venom trade paperback for War of Realms.
Pick it up. Easy buy.
which is not written by Tom King. I'm sorry, of course not written by Tom King. Not written by Donny Cates.
It's still pretty good. I liked it.
Yeah. A lot of people seem to enjoy it.
Yeah,
it's one of those things that it's just a title that just kind of got sucked up into the black hole of another crossover.
Yeah, it's not Donny Cates, but it's still a solid read, and it adds some things to the run. So
right, it's a solid part. It's a solid piece of that storyline.
Mm-hmm.
War Realm Spider-Man Daredevil trade paperback and X-Men by Roy Thomas and Neil Adams. What is this? Because this is our last 50% off item from In Stock Trades. But I'm not exactly sure what this is.
Cool laser vision.
So it's X-Men 56 through 57, A stories, and 58 through 63 and 65. I don't know if this is an oversized hardcover or what, or if this pieces together something that hasn't been collected before. No idea.
Kind of looks like Scott Summers is giving like his best Michael Jackson or something.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Looks like somebody caught him peeing in the back alley or something.
Yeah, that's not a good look.
Boom Studios got Bone Parish Volume 2, Jim Henson's Labyrinth, Coronation, and Rugrats Building Blocks.
Cool.
And then down here is, we don't have Gio or Omar on here, but Luis, I know you're up on the up and up about what's cool with mangas or whatnot. So let me know if you see anything in here.
Yeah, probably not.
Spotlight.
They know a lot more than me. Hey, Captain Underpants.
Yay!
I used to love Captain Underpants as a kid. Yeah, nothing sticks out so far to me. No. No, nothing.
No, nothing that sticks out for me either.
Yeah. Splatoon.
Nope. All right. Well, that is that, everybody. All right. Cool. Freddie Alonso up in the chat says Unstoppable Wasp is awesome and that I'm
Who's writing that?
no idea.
Doesn't matter because it's boring.
Doesn't matter. Yeah. It's just one of those, just not the kind of book that is in my sphere of interest.
That's because it's boring, Gabe. That's
Jeremy Whitley, who I'm not familiar with. So sorry, no luck there. All right, everybody. I think we're going to call that a night. That's a wrap. That's going to be the end of this episode of OmniBros Live. We appreciate you all sticking around, hanging out with us, chopping it up in the chat. Once again, a extra large shout out and thank you to our sponsor, InStockTrades.com, where you could find all those books that I talked about this earlier today for 50% off. I'll run through it one more time for the people in the back. It's the Miles Morales graphic novel, Batman Eternal Omnibus, both Hulk Marvel Masterworks Volume 13, so both covers of that, and X-Men by Roy Thomas Gallery Edition. So those are the big hot specials on In Stock Trades. And you can also get free shipping on your orders over $50 if you're in the United States. You get great customer service, great, wonderful packaging at InStockTrades.com. So make your orders on there. Feel free to join all of us on the Facebook group. And you know what? We always like seeing when people post up their weekly orders, whether it's a picture of the order itself or just a discussion of what you're picking up this week. It's always fun to have that conversation. So if you're in the Facebook group, make those posts. If you're not in the Facebook group, you can join, answer those questions. That's an automatic disqualification if you don't answer those questions. It also takes a little bit of time to get approved, which Luis and I have no influence over.
Yeah, so don't send me messages or anything like that asking me to get you in because I have no power over that.
I do have power over that, and you could PayPal me.
They were intelligent enough not to make me a mod there. Would have been a
Bad idea if any of us were mods. I just don't care. That's my thing. I'm like, let them fight. Let them argue with each other. I don't. I'm gonna go in there and antagonize it a little bit more.
Yeah, you do kind of like to throw the knife in the middle of the fight sometimes, man.
Oh yeah. Once I see a fight's kind of dissipating and they're making up, I'm like, I'm bringing this back around. Did you hear what he said about your mom earlier? That's me.
You're the guy in the crowd that would say, "Bet you won't hit him." Like when things start escalating.
All right. So with that said, Luis, where can everybody find you online?
You can find me at Comics Guide 101 on Twitter. That's the best way to get a hold of me. If you try to add me for whatever reason through my personal Facebook account, I'm not going to add you. Twitter, my professional Twitter account. Comics Guide 101. You can find me on YouTube at Comics Guide 101, where there's new videos that go up Monday through Thursday at 8 a.m. and the Q&A on Friday at 8 o'clock in the afternoon.
All right. And with me, you guys can find me on Instagram. Gabe Loves 90s Comics. I'm also in the Facebook group. Don't add me on Facebook, though. But feel free to add me anywhere else, especially Instagram. I'll follow you back. If you're a follower of the show, you're an OmniBro, I would definitely follow you back on there. So hit me up, let me know, and I'll follow you back. But with all that said, thanks again to everybody in the chat. Thanks again to Gio for trying his damnedest to make it on the show. We appreciate that, Gio. Shout out to Ryley for his great review choices with Donny Cates Thor, Murder Falcon, and Grant Morrison, the Green Lantern. And again, to the chat and all the viewers, we appreciate it very, very much. Have a great night, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Smoke crack. Worship Satan. All right. That is that.
Yay.